Have you ever found yourself looking back on family gatherings, perhaps around the holidays or a special birthday, and wishing things felt a bit different? Maybe there's a quiet ache in your heart over a misunderstanding that never quite healed, or a distance has grown between you and a loved one that you just can't seem to bridge. It's a common experience, isn't it? As we navigate life, especially as we enter our mid-60s and beyond, family dynamics can sometimes become complicated. Old wounds might linger, unspoken words might create barriers, or simply the hustle and bustle of life can lead to a quiet drifting apart. You might be wondering if it's too late to mend those ties, to bring back that warmth and connection that deep down we all crave. The truth is, it's never too late to cultivate more joy in your life, and often that joy comes from the very heart of your family. Strong family bonds don't just feel good. They're actually linked to better health, less stress, and even a longer, happier life. Studies have shown that people with strong social connections, especially within their families, tend to be more resilient and have a greater sense of well-being. So, if you've been feeling a disconnect, or if you simply want to strengthen the wonderful family relationships you already have, you're in the right place. In this video, we're going to explore 5 practical ways you can mend family ties after 65 for more joy. These aren't grand gestures or difficult tasks. They're thoughtful, actionable steps that can make a profound difference in your relationships and, by extension, your own happiness. Let's dive straight into the first powerful step, embracing forgiveness. This is a big one, and it's often the toughest, but it's also the most liberating. Over the years, in any family, there are bound to be hurts, slights, or disagreements. Maybe a word was said in anger, or a decision was made that deeply disappointed you. Or perhaps you feel someone just didn't show up for you in the way you needed. Holding on to these grievances, even if they're completely justified, is like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. It weighs you down, saps your energy, and prevents you from fully embracing the present and future. Now, let me be clear. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, nor does it mean condoning the behavior that caused the pain. It simply means releasing yourself from the emotional burden of resentment. It's a gift you give to yourself, not necessarily to the other person. Think about it. When you hold on to anger or resentment, who is really suffering? Usually it's you. Forgiveness allows you to let go of that toxic emotional baggage. It frees up your emotional energy to focus on positive connections. How do you begin to embrace forgiveness? It starts with acknowledging your feelings honestly. It's okay to feel hurt or angry. Then, try to look at the situation from a different perspective. Could there have been misunderstandings? Was the other person perhaps going through their own struggles that you weren't aware of at the time? Sometimes, writing down your feelings in a journal can be incredibly cathartic. You don't even have to tell the other person you've forgiven them initially. This is an internal process. But once you've done that inner work, you might find that your interactions with that family member naturally become softer, more open, and less burdened by the past. It's about choosing peace over pain, and it opens up the possibility for genuine reconnection. This deeply personal journey sets the stage for healthier, more open relationships going forward. Once you start that process of releasing old hurts, the next step becomes much easier. It's about taking that first brave step toward connection, something we'll explore next. Now that we've talked about the profound power of embracing forgiveness within yourself, which is truly the foundational step, let's move to the next crucial action, initiating gentle outreach. This is where you bravely extend a hand, even if it feels a little uncertain at first. Sometimes, we wait for others to make the first move, especially if there's a rift or a long silence. But as we get older, we often gain a deeper understanding of how precious time is. Waiting for someone else might mean missing out on valuable moments of connection and joy. Initiating gentle outreach doesn't mean forcing a big, emotional confrontation or demanding an immediate resolution to past issues. It's about opening a door, even just a tiny crack. It could be as simple as sending a thoughtful card for a birthday or anniversary, or a text message saying, "Thinking of you." Maybe you send an old photograph with a brief, warm note like, "Found this and it brought back good memories." If you're comfortable, a short, friendly phone call, just to say hello and see how they're doing, without any expectations, can be incredibly powerful. The key here is gentle and low pressure. You're not looking for an immediate deep conversation about old hurts. You're simply reminding them that you care and that the door to connection is open. For example, I know a gentleman named Mr. Ben who hadn't spoken to his sister for years after a disagreement about an inheritance. He felt deeply hurt, but as he approached his 70s, he realized how much he missed her. Instead of dwelling on the past, he sent her a small plan for her birthday with a note that simply said, "Thinking of you on your special day. Hope you're well." He didn't expect a response, but a week later, she called him. That one small, gentle gesture began to thaw years of silence. Sometimes, people are just waiting for a sign, a signal that it's safe to reconnect. Your gentle outreach can be that signal. It shows maturity, kindness, and a desire to heal, and it puts the ball gently in their court without any pressure. Once you've made that initial connection, however small, the next step builds on that renewed sense of openness, listening with an open heart. This is profoundly important, especially when past issues have created distance. It's easy to go into conversations with family members with our own narrative, our own version of events, or our own expectations of what they should say or do. But truly mending ties requires a willingness to hear their perspective without immediate judgment or defensiveness. This means putting aside your own agenda for a moment and really focusing on what the other person is saying, both with their words and their body language. Ask open-ended questions like, "How have things been for you?" Or, "What's been on your mind lately?" And then listen. Don't interrupt. Don't formulate your response while they're still speaking. Just absorb. You might learn things you never knew, gain insights into their experiences, or discover that their intentions were different from what you perceived. This act of deep listening validates their feelings and experiences, making them feel heard and understood, which is a powerful foundation for rebuilding trust. Think about Ms. Lon, who had a strained relationship with her adult son. She always felt he didn't appreciate her efforts. One day, instead of telling what she thought, she simply asked, "Son, what was it like for you growing up from your perspective?" And then she listened, truly listened, as he shared some struggles and pressures she hadn't fully recognized. She didn't argue or defend. She just absorbed. That conversation, born from open-hearted listening, was a turning point in their relationship. It allowed empathy to enter the space where only assumptions had been before. When you listen with an open heart, you're creating a safe space for authentic communication. This isn't always easy, especially if emotions run high, but it's vital for moving past old patterns and establishing a new, healthier way of relating. It's about being present and genuinely interested in their world, which fosters a sense of connection and respect that can truly mend broken bonds. Once you've opened the lines of communication through listening, we can then begin to explore ways to create new, positive shared experiences. We've journeyed through the crucial steps of internal forgiveness and reaching out with an open heart, ready to truly listen. Now, let's move on to the third vital strategy for mending family ties after 65. And this one is all about building new bridges through shared experiences, creating new positive memories. Sometimes, when relationships are strained, the past can feel overwhelming, like a heavy shadow hanging over every interaction. While acknowledging the past is important, dwelling on it constantly can prevent you from moving forward. The most effective way to shift the dynamic is to actively build new, positive memories together, consciously replacing old, difficult ones with fresh, joyful ones. This doesn't mean ignoring past issues, but rather choosing to focus on creating moments that are light, fun, and connecting. Think about activities that genuinely interest both you and your family member, or perhaps something you can discover together. It could be as simple as sharing a meal regularly, but with a twist. Instead of always meeting at the same restaurant, perhaps try cooking a new recipe together, or having a picnic in a local park. Or maybe you could revisit a place that holds pleasant, older memories, but create a new experience there. For instance, if you used to go fishing with grandchild when they were little, why not suggest another fishing trip? But this time, focus on teaching them a new knot or simply enjoying the quiet company. Consider activities that stimulate conversation without pressure, visiting a local museum or art gallery, attending a community event or concert, going for a leisurely walk in a beautiful garden, or even working on a small, shared project like organizing old family photos. The goal is to find common ground and engage in activities where you can simply be together without the weight of past expectations or unspoken words. These shared moments, no matter how small, begin to weave a new tapestry connection. They create fresh talking points, laughter, and a sense of shared purpose that can gently push old resentments into the background. Every new positive memory is like a little drop of healing balm on old wounds. Take the example of Mrs. Tao, who wanted to reconnect with her son after years of polite but distant interactions. She knew he loved photography, a hobby she'd never really understood. Instead of just asking about it, she suggested they visit a local botanical garden, and he could teach her how to use her phone camera better. It wasn't about her becoming a photographer, but about sharing his passion. That afternoon, filled with gentle guidance and shared appreciation for nature's beauty, became a cherished new memory that opened the door to more frequent and warmer conversations. It's about being proactive in designing moments that foster genuine enjoyment and connection, reminding yourselves of the joy you can find in each other's company. Now, as we build these new memories, we also need to address how we communicate, which brings us to the next crucial strategy. This strategy ensures that these new positive interactions can flourish and truly mend any lingering rifts.